sales.
Did you go to prison, by the way, in Colorado? It was. Oh, it was there.
I was in Colorado, a place called Canyon City for diagnostic, where they fucking tap into your head. They see what's going on in your head, and they do all these testing, and then you go to a certain facility.
Was your prison, because it was back, I don't know if it was the same now, was it all super segregated like you hear about now? You know what I mean? Whites over here, Latins over here.
It's so weird. It was segregated, but I broke that segregation.
Really?
And I made the guys that hung out with me break that segregation. Like, it's weird that I'm married to a Terry Clark, because my best friend in prison was a guy named John Clark, who hated blacks, chinks, Spanish, Jews, Hungarians. He was white power.
Yeah.
But when he hung with me, he had to hang out with 3 yams, because I ran with 3 black dudes who I loved and gave my life for. So there was a guy that looked like Josh Potter that was a librarian. He looked just like Josh Potter.
Yeah.
He was a librarian. He was from Buffalo, New York also.
Jesus.
Yeah, he shot his wife and the mailman.
Oh, that sounds like Josh Potter.
It turned into a federal.
Yeah.
So our crew was me, him, John Clark, who was like heavy-duty white supremacy, but not really. He went between the bikers and the white guys. He had the tattoos and shit. Me and him had visitation together because we both were supervisors in the kitchen. So we wouldn't take visitation on Saturdays and Sundays. We'd take visitation on Monday and Tuesday so I could eat some pussy.
Yeah.
Because then I thought I'd make my girlfriend at the time show up with a dress with no panties on.
Oh.
And you and your wife would be on the other side of the, it'd just be 2 of us. If you took visitation on the weekend, I got to sit next to somebody. I can't finger my wife or nothing.
Yeah.
But on Mondays and Tuesdays, I was slinging dick, eating ass,
Yeah.
shooting a load.
Yeah.
And then she would bring me groceries, and I'd go back to my thing. So me and John were tight.
Yeah.
Then I was tight with a guy named Spencer Antoine, a black dude who fucking sliced the guy up, and he had a really good attorney, so he had involuntary manslaughter, like he killed him at a party.
Yeah.
He was tight with me. But the best dude that was my brother was this guy, Etchy. He was a professional bank robber. And if I think back about this, he's the first guy that talked to me about stand-up.
Really?
Like, he taught me about throwing your voice. This is a funny story.
Yeah.
We were talking one night. We couldn't do drugs in there because they drug tested you, but you could do acid. So we would do acid and meet at a certain bunker. Me, the 2 black dudes, and we would with John Clark and the librarian. The librarian was a deep guy. He liked doing acid and all this shit. And he would talk to you about Venus and all this stuff. But one day we were talking, and this guy, Etchy was his name. He's like, man, I've been in here for too motherfucking long and shit. My freezers are slipping. And I'm like, freezer? And he goes, you know, my motherfucking freezers. And I go, I don't know what you're talking about. And he was telling me that when you go into a bank or a liquor store to rob somebody, how you say freeze is very important.
Oh.
It's got to be very, like, freeze! Like, it's got to be very intimidating, because if you don't say it the right way, people get kind of fucking tough. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
And he goes, one time me and my brother went in to rob a bank, and my motherfucking brother had a cold and shit. And he yelled freeze, but his voice cracked, and the motherfucker pulled out a gun and shit. I had to shoot him in the leg. I mean, I looked at his police report. He had shot like 80 people. This guy was in jail 80% of his life, but he was hilarious.
My freezers are slipping.
So he would tell me, man, I got to work on my motherfucking freezers. I'm getting out of here in like 6 months and shit. I got to get back to work. So I go like, so what can I do to help you?
What can I do
And he
to
goes,
help you?
let me know when people are gathered. And I could try my shit out on them. You know what I'm saying? So I go, well, we'll start in the cafeteria first. So he would come in, look at me, and I go, and everybody would be online getting their food, and there'd be people sitting eating, and he would kick the door down and go, freeze, motherfuckers, and white people would duck and shit. And he would come up to me, I told you, I got to work on my motherfucking freezers and shit.
That is the
So
best.
I would wait on Saturdays when the black dudes would play dominoes in the laundry room, and they'd be listening to fucking, who's Whitney Houston's husband?
Yeah, Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel.
Yeah.
Like, I was in prison when that album came out. And the brothers would be dancing and they'll be cruel. And I would run over to Etchy and go, Etchy, I got like 20 brothers gathered. He goes, where the fuck are they? I go, they're in the laundry room. He would march down there to the back door, and I go in there in the front and be hanging out with the brothers, and all of a sudden the door would kick open. And he'd go, freeze! And all the black dudes would duck and go, you black motherfucker, you almost gave us a heart attack. And Etchy would put his arm around me and he'd go, man, if you can scare niggas, you can scare anybody. And I used to go, Etchy, you kill me. And he'd run that drill every fucking Saturday. He'd run. If white dudes were cooking, he'd kick down the door, freeze! And they would, God damn it, you again? And then he would come up to me. He's like, I'm getting my freezes back up.
Freezes.
You know?
That's one of my favorite stories I've ever
Oh
heard.
my God, Etchy!
I'm working on my freeze.
I'm working on my freezes and shit.
Working on my freezes.
Yeah. By the way, you know Potter. Did you know that he can't come?
Where?
Josh Potter can get it up,
And he can't ejaculate.
with a girl. No,
Tremendous. That's even better.
he wants to.
Who
Though.
wants to come?
He wants to.
I want to drill a hole in their fucking eyes that they can't take it no more. You know what I'm saying? When you're fucking them and their one eyeball is hanging out. And they're like, when are you going to come? Because I come quick.
Yeah.
I come in a minute. So if I could come in...
Right there with you, brother.
If I could come in 20 minutes and just keep giving you dick, going from pussy to asshole to mouth, back to your fucking pussy.
Jeez, Joey.
Drill it back
That's
to
what
your
you're
ass.
doing? That's
No,
what you're
but
doing?
that's my fantasy. If I couldn't come for an hour, hitting you in the face, making you suck it, popping it out, hitting you, you're like confused. You don't know where you're going.
Licking
So he's never
toilets.
come?
He's
Right
right
here.
like-
He's right there. Talk to him.
That's how it usually goes, by the way.
Yeah, that's it. It's an hour of fucking straight
But
dick.
he can only come if he jerks off. He can't.
Okay, then when you want to come, after the chick is laying there like she got shot in Vegas, you know what I'm saying? Like she's laying there, the one leg is hanging, you know what I'm saying? Her mouth is stretched out, her asshole, it's still open like a dragon's mouth. You know when you fuck them in the asshole stays open.
Do I?
And they're just laying there drinking milk, trying to recoup and shit. You're giving them like Gatorade, then
Yeah.
you just jerk off on the tits and call it a night.
There you go, man. Why are we even trying to solve this?
Dude,
problem?
I don't think it's a problem anymore.
It's not a problem.
You
No,
don't?
yeah.
No.
I don't,
thought you
Joey's
were-
convinced me. I mean, I want to just mangle some.
If you told
Bros.
3 chicks that you couldn't come, that you could give them each dick for an hour, you could get all 3 of them to show up at once and just keep going like Don Henley style. You ever read that book? You won't work in this town again. It came out in '98 about a hooker who wrote about all her experiences, and she wrote about Don Henley. That she would go to Don Henley would order 4 bitches, and he would sit there in this table like this was his table, and that's a fireplace. He would make them bend over. Don't even look at me. He wouldn't even let them look at him. Just look towards the fireplace and bend over. And he'd do lines of coke, and then get up, open up his robe, and stick it in you like 4 times. Then he'd sit back down again, and he'd do a couple more lines, and he'd have you there for 8 hours.
Dude, this
Just
could be your
bend
life.
over.
This could be your life, Josh.
God, I hope so. That's someday.
Yeah,
Let's
when
do
you,
it.
Like when I was younger and I did coke, there was dick for fucking 4 hours.
Yeah.
You just were giving out dick. They're looking at you like, when is this gonna stop? And then when you do come, it's one of those long loads.
Yeah.
You ever have those loads? Like I used to be on probation, and there was a dude that was like a GI Joe dude that failed the police test, but his assistant was a good-looking woman. Like she was kind of cute. If I was 30, she was like 38. Nobody talked to her in Boulder because she had like a wooden leg. Like her leg was kind of like she had like that little limp. But you could tell the bitch had game. Like she could suck a cock. I would look in the eyes and I could tell this bitch is deadly. But nobody talks to her because of the fucking wooden leg or whatever the fuck she's got. She got shot in Vietnam. I didn't know what happened to her. And she was very nice. I forget what her name was. I'd see her. I'd always flirt with her. But when I was doing, and I was in the probation, I figured out how to fuck with the piss test. I'm uncircumcised, so I would take like fucking pool cleaner and put it on my dick and then pull the skin over it and put like a tab over it, like a bread tab, like a fucking rubber band. And then when I would go pee, the guy would watch me. And I would take the thing out and just pee and then pull the skin back. And all the pool cleaner would go into the fucking thing. And then I would zap the machine. They would always say to me, this motherfucker's up to something. So he asked her, he goes, maybe you could see what the fuck he's doing. So I knew when I would call and go, I'll be there at 4, because they would call you, and then you had to call a machine that would tell you what color was up. Mm-hmm. And if the color came up, let's say your color is maroon, and they go, today's colors are green, maroon, and black, you would have to call in and tell them what time you're coming in. You had till 5 o'clock, but you had to make an appointment. Then she'd tell you, no. If he answered, that means he was going to watch you while you're pissed. But with me, they had mirrors around me. They couldn't figure out what I was doing, so they sent her in. So before I would go in, I'd fucking do a half a jerk in the car and get my dick nice and big.
Yeah.
And then I'd sprinkle it the fucking
Pool cleaner?
the pool cleaner or the fucking.
Doesn't sting your dick, the pool
It did.
cleaner?
I got scars. I got little holes
Yeah.
into my dick, and Drano.
Yeah.
I would grind it up. I would fucking put it under my dick and then pull the skin back, and it would fall into the piss test and zap it. But before I would piss, I would take the hammer out and show it to her. Like, what do you think? What do you think? There's something nice. And she would look at it and look around the room. And not like I knew I was going to end up sleeping with her or swapping spirit with her, because I flirt with her. Nobody talked to the woman because she had a fucked up leg. So I'm off probation. I'm delivering Chinese food, and I'm slinging coke at the same time at the Chinese restaurant. So I would have you call the Chinese restaurant and say, can I talk to Joey? Yeah, what's up? Oh, you want egg drop soup? Whatever. The cocaine would be hidden under the egg drop soup, so that if I got in trouble, the Chinese people got in trouble. I didn't put it in the bag. This was when I was out already, out of prison. One night I knock on the door, and who answers the door? It's her. And she goes, oh my God, it's so great to see you. How have you been? And I go, it's great to see you. Man, I gave her a hug, and I put the Chinese down, and she goes, what are you doing with your life? I go, I'm getting divorced, but I got into stand-up comedy, and I'm trying to deliver food to make a living. And she's like, oh, that's so sweet. You and her broke up? Oh, you must need a hug. And as I started hugging her, we started swapping spit. And I touched a little monkey, and I could feel nobody had even touched a monkey in like 10 years. Steam started coming up. And I started fingering that motherfucker like a savage and swapping spit with her. And my hand was nice and wet, and I'm fingering it. I got a pinky surrounding her asshole. And I'm working, and finally I put it down slowly. And I pop her pants. I take her tit out. She's got one big fucking tit. I'm sucking her tits. And I'm making out with her. And I'm fingering at the same time. So while I'm fingering her, I take her pants down. But I go, I don't want to see what the other leg is. So I took the leg off of the good leg. And I left the fucking bad leg covered because I don't want to know what it is. If she's got like a pole under there, one of those fucked up feet. I don't want to see. So I picked up her fucking legs and I started eating her pussy. And the clit fucking was huge. And I'm sucking on it like a piece of bubble gum. I look up at her and she's like this, Christine, like with her mouth open. I go, now's the time to put the helmet in that fucking mouth. So I switched up. I started 2-finger Louie-ing her, and I went around her, and I put that fucking hammer in her mouth, and she didn't know what to do. She's like, and at that time, I was trying to fucking lift weights and shit, so I wasn't jerking off. Because somebody told me not to jerk off, that your protein. I was retarded, dog. You know, I'm retarded.
Yeah.
And when I came in the mouth, it was one of those loads, Christine, that don't stop. You ever have one of those things?
I know,
and
Christine.
you're sucking it with your eyes closed, and then after a minute, you open it up because you're like, when is this going to stop? And I could look at her swallowing it, and it was endless. It was fucking endless. It was just a load of death. It was like a month and a half of not coming. There was Valium in there and Xanax and fucking
Well, it's
cocaine.
nice seeing you, Joey. Thanks for stopping by.
I shot a load in the mouth, and when I took my dick out, she went, ah. It was like she drank a gallon of Mountain Dew. She looked at me. She started getting a little dizzy.
Oh, my God.
I was selling Valium at the time. I was taking like 100 milligrams of Valium a night. When I shot in her mouth to put her in a trance, she was glassy-eyed. She gave me a $3 tip, and I left, and I never saw her again. She must have ate that Chinese food and slept for a week.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
You got any dates coming up you want to put
You can still
You got a Twitter handle?
You
You
can
wanna
still
plug
feel what
that?
that nut felt like, I bet, right?
oh, it was like a 3-minute nut.
But wait a minute, you didn't even bang her? You
No,
didn't put it in her
no.
vagine?
No.
No,
Well, that's-
the
that's-
limitation of the
unloaded
pussy eating was tremendous.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I licked her ass.
Sorry, I blacked out at some point. I didn't
No,
listen
sure.
closely.
Once I
enough.
shove my tongue in your ass, you black out. It's like you're 14 and your uncle's molesting you. You know. You just black out and let happen what's going to happen anyway.
This is too good. Oh man, you're
Fuck
the
it.
best.
Take a shower.
Fuck it.
Joey Diaz, Church of What's Happening Now.
Whew, he needs to go to church after that. You got to
You
repent,
go to
son.
see him at the Comedy Store. Go to his dates. Where did you have a website? I don't forget.
JoeyDiaz.net.
Jeez.
You're the best. You're the best.
So are you guys.
I love you so
Love you,
much.
Joey.
Christine, you lived that load when I was saying it. That's why.
I did not
It
live
took you
the
back
load.
to college like
I
one
did
time.
not. I did not.
When you got a bad
She used to
batch
fuck
of
a lot of Puerto
Hungarian
Ricans.
dick.
I
Yeah.
like
That was the
Puerto
Puerto
Ricans.
Yeah, you got a bad batch of those platanito sperm where you just kept fucking swallowing, saying this is the worst pina colada I've ever had.
Did that Zanku chicken come? I'm pretty hungry.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Our closing song by
Feel
is
sick
by
inside.
Tardcore Fun. Joey Diaz, everybody. I love you, man.
Love you.
I
Uncle
love you guys
Joey.
too for having me.
God. The retardation of your generation. The retardation. Retarded. God. The retardation of your generation. The retardation of your the retard the retard the retard